We do want to get back to our top story, the Supreme Court of Canada decision ruling that medical marijuana can be sold in products like cookies, brownies, and oils, not just in its dried form. Terry Roycroft is the president of the Medicinal Cannabis Resource Center. He joins us now in studio. Terry, what does it mean for the people who have a license? What does this decision mean to them?
Well, this is pretty significant for the patients that are qualified to use cannabis. Up until this point, they've only been able to legally use dried cannabis. And from a physician's point of view, and the physicians that we work with, the standardization is something that's very important. So when we start creating edibles, there's the possibility and there's the mechanism there to actually standardize that dose, which is exactly what physicians want to be able to prescribe a more standardized dose.
So what is the difference for someone who is dealing with a pain situation between smoking and ingesting?
Well, when you smoke it, it goes through your mucal membranes, lasts only a couple of hours, and has a limited effect on the body stone. When you ingest something, it lasts up to 6 to 8 hours. There's much more medicine going within the body, and you get much more better results when you use an edible than you do smoking.
You talked about standardization of the doses because that's part of the problem some have brought up with the ingestion is you don't know initially what the dosage will do, how it'll work if you're getting that dose right. So how does that change?
Well, what happens is there are a lot of recipes and a lot of mechanisms to create that. There are people, as we talked about in Vancouver, with standardized dosages already, and through the dispensaries, we're seeing that whole market has already been happening, but now it's legal for those patients, so it's going to be much easier for them to access it.
What do you hear from people who are using it and ingesting it for their pain relief, for example? What are they saying about that means of taking marijuana?
Well, it depends. Sometimes they're not aware that the edible or ingesting it is a better mechanism, and that's part of why the legalization through the medical forms, talking with your physician, he can kind of guide you on the different ways of administration, because you can eat it, you can drink it through teas, there are tinctures people use, so there's a number of different ways that people can administer it, even in that edible form.
So what do you say to those who were against the idea, maybe not of medicinal marijuana, but using it in other forms, who have concerns about it? Part of them, I'm going to raise sort of part of the argument, is that this could be something that children would be interested if it's in a cookie form or a brownie form, that kind of thing.
Well, again, those are more of a recreational creations, cookies and brownies. There are a lot of straight canna caps and different things now that are being created more in a medical look as well. So it's kind of paralleling the medical program.
Meaning what? A medical look?
Well, it would be like a pill, or it'd be a cap, or it'd be something that would be typically what you would take in normal medical, pills sort of things, versus a brownie or a candy or a sucker. So when we start to look at the medical look versus the recreational look, that's what we're talking about.
So how would you sort of respond just generally to the decision by the Supreme Court?
Well, I think it's major. We've been waiting for the last year and a half for this to happen. It's something that we've been talking in the colleges of the physicians and surgeons. One of their biggest concerns is the lack of standardization. So this is something that will actually push forward even from the medical community. This will allow them to be more accepting of this method of administration.
All right, Terry Roycroft joining us. Thanks very much.
You're welcome.